So it's theater of the mind.
All right, let's get started. You may learn something.
The Counting Sheep podcast is brought to you by Fire 2, the app for iPhone where you can record podcasts. Hopefully this actually works. This is the first time we're doing it. We're doing an entire episode like this.
Wait,
But-
you paid $5.99 for that?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not buying that.
Yo, Chris Barrio don't play.
I'm trying to promote the company, and all of a sudden it's like, no, I gotta buy Sapporo beer.
That's a small investment. When you
Oh,
think about it.
evangelical Christian.
Hey, at least it's not. Look what he's drinking.
Oh my god!
Well, in all fairness, I'm drinking Coors Light because it was the cheapest one at the bodega.
You know why?
That wasn't Natty Ice.
He's gonna tell you why.
You know why?
Why?
Because it's supported by evangelical Christians. Why do you think the Coors Brewing Company didn't go out of business during the Great Depression?
Why?
Because it was during the no alcohol. Not
Oh,
the Great
during
Depression.
Prohibition?
Because the evangelical
Well, that was
Christian
like
movement.
the Great Depression.
Why is it from Colorado? Rocky Mountain High. Coors, evangelical capital of the United States. Anyway, hello and welcome to this episode of Counting Sheep. As always, I am the man behind the mic and the man who provides all your wisdom minus the information, who's distributed by our Minister of I was gonna say Minister of Magic, like Harry Potter.
Yo, you better cut that Hogwarts bullshit out, son. I don't play Quidditch up in here.
As always, before we start the podcast, we always have a beverage in our hand. This week, I don't have an oversized shot glass, so I'm doing 2 shots
There is one in
simultaneously
the cabinet if you're willing to clean it.
of Devil's Cut Jim Beam 90 proof. It looks good. So as always, you know I am Sheep, and to my left,
Elizabeth.
Matt.
Brian Baker.
Brian Rubin, Minister of Information.
and it's actually a special podcast because we have Mr. BTB, or AKA BTB, real name, Christian name, Brian Baker, on our podcast episode today.
Yes, Christian names.
I listened to the first one. What was it, yesterday? Where Ruben and Bauer, you guys telling that story about that drunk Irish guy.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I'm recounting my memories. Like, when did I do that with them? so I'm not Irish. Look at me, dude.
You're a hipster.
Okay, so hipsters have now their own origin.
So
like,
that's my ethnicity.
you know,
now, is
yeah.
hipster.
More or less.
All right,
yeah.
I think I'm going to lay something on the table right now. We should stop giving hipsters press with their stealing their sister's pants and using old-timey cameras. It's no.
Well, here's the interesting thing.
No,
is,
I'm not down with it.
You know, when the whole like sort of hipster label came about, like, okay, this is for me personally anyway. When I first heard about hipsters, I was still at 5 towns in Dix Hills, Long Island. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna move to Brooklyn. I'm gonna hang out with hipsters. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna live in like a really urban area that's gentrifying.
it's the dream.
You got the
it's-
second part, right?
It sounds cool, but then I realized after moving there what the hipster crowd was really like. Because I go to this, I found out about this bar through myopenbar.com.
Wait, you moved to Brooklyn?
Yeah, I lived in Bushwick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I lived in Bushwick in 06. I think it was 08, because that's when I graduated. But yeah, I was living in Bushwick, and I go to this open bar at one of those like cool dive bars with artwork all over the walls, kind of like a Fridays, but much more awesome.
Wishes it was.
They actually cook the food.
Hey, dude, I actually will stand up for Friday's food. That's a
I
whole
enjoy
nother-
Friday's food. I just heard that it's like, they find the number in the bag and they go 35 correlates to chicken cordon bleu dinner, and they just heat it up in the fucking microwave.
No, they actually cook all their food. Because I worked at Friday's.
Oh, okay.
in the kitchen.
That's right. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. So
But,
I gotta tell my boss.
You're thinking of Applebee's.
Yeah, they do. They mostly
Yes.
microwave.
Okay. So I thought it was one to say.
No,
But
it's
continue.
Yeah.
I
Are you
apologize.
sure it wasn't organic? Like,
So now we're talking real hipster.
Continue. I apologize.
So I'm at this bar that was advertised on my open bar that was supposed to be like, dollar beers, free vodka, and like a barbecue.
Free
Actually,
vodka sounds good.
Dude.
It's a bar that I want to go to.
free vodka is a calling card.
Free pop-up.
So I go into this bar. I'm with Raph, who's like, my best friend from college, and we've been in touch for years. And we show up there, and we realize it's not an open bar. And we're like, well, what gives? It was advertised that we're talking right to the bartender, this like tall, sort of hip looking chick with like short blonde hair. She's like, yeah, no, it's not. You guys read wrong. Sorry. And we're like, all right, whatever. We'll get a beer.
Yeah,
So we
it
came
makes
all the
no
way out
sense.
there.
Yeah,
You know, but that happens all the time.
really.
So what happens next is this group of 4 comes in. And it's these 2 like Amazonianly tall white chicks with short cut hair,
Oh, no.
and this short little meek guy in like cut off jean shorts
So
and
weird.
like a little striped T-shirt. Like he's wearing tighter clothes than the girls are.
Nice.
It's a common problem.
And I feel like he had like bigger boobs than the girls did.
Nice, even better.
And his
the
hair was
the
longer than
estrogen
theirs.
and those tight fucking pants. That's a winning combination. I want that,
Dude,
yo. I shop in the women's section.
it was like the weirdest, most androgynous role
That's what they do,
reversal
actually.
ever.
Just define androgynous because I'm stupid.
That's like when you like don't quite have sexuality, you're like sort of in between. Like
Okay.
the boy looks kind of girly, but he was boyish, and the girl
Okay,
kind of
sort of like going to every metal show I've ever been to, where you're like, yo, that's a nice looking girl. And it's like that's a man.
oh,
'Cause
like
of
when
the
you
long
see the hair from
Oh
behind.
yeah, absolutely.
That used to happen to me all the time.
I know.
Time out. Those girls wore panties with dick holes in them.
What?
Thank you, Minister of Information.
He's bringing that fucking Chappelle show shit back up.
Yep.
So anyway, so these 3 are finding out the same thing me and Raph just found out. That's not an open bar, but they're whispering to each other like, oh, where's all the beer? Shouldn't the free beer here? Oh, I don't know. Can you
These are the
find out?
Amazonian girls.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, you can't really tell which one's talking. You just
Oh,
hear
yeah, okay. You just
slightly
mutter. It's just
deeper.
mutter. Yeah.
It's all muttering like, oh my god, what are we gonna
It's
do?
like
You should ask
the
them.
GBs.
All right, let's not go there.
Yeah, no Game Boys. No Game
It's,
Boys.
it's like oh well, you should ask them. No, you should ask them. They're going back and forth literally 3 minutes till the fucking dude finally goes up to the bar and he's like, hey man, calling the girl, hey man, like. Like I know they're supposed to be, like free alcohol. There's this website that said it, and the girl behind the bar was like, no, that's not happening.
It's the same.
It's not happening today. And he's like, oh, but like the website said it, like we wanted free alcohol, and she's like, no. And he's like, oh shit, okay. Do you have sangria? And it's like, it just
Sangria, just like that.
yeah, he just switched to sangria.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when
That's a weird
me and
background.
Raph showed up, they were like, yo, what's going on? Like, can you give us some free booze? Like, we're handling the situation.
Like real men.
But when I see girls more manly than men with like dudes who don't have real long hair like mine but have that short shitty long hair,
Uh-huh.
that's when I kind of got like just done
Like
with
emo.
hipster culture right there. But now, ironically enough, now I could keep getting called a hipster rather than fight it, because all the fucking hipsters be like, no, I'm not a hipster, man.
Right.
Fuck hipsters. But now I get called, I'm like, yeah, I'm awesome.
Okay, so now that we've gotten on the topic of that, like, what is the actual, like, what defines someone as being hipster? Because Elizabeth just sent me a link today about how there's a ginormous emo movement in Mexico.
Really?
Like, it's, like, really huge. Like, entire portions of towns have just become emo. And then they fight, like, the punks or the anarchists versus, like, the goth
when I went
kids.
to Mexico City for the weekend, it was just me and my 2 cousins.
This weekend?
No,
Just
that
now.
was
She
2
took the
years
Concorde
ago.
that doesn't exist anymore.
We went there.
Yo, I took a hacienda in Mexico.
So you went to Mexico.
Yes, and we went there for the purpose of the rock festival, like all the rockers and all those like cultural stuff, like Rasta and all the other stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but once we hit there, it was like all emo kids in there, and we were like,
Gay.
what? Like, really? And then we went across the town, and it was the gay section also.
Told you.
So it's
So, all the emo kids were hanging out in the gay district
no,
of
it
Mexico.
was emo, and then
They got
gays.
kicked out because they're
Oh.
Yeah,
Were they like getting along with each other at least?
yeah. Apparently, like if you're emo over there, you get hit by all the so-called punks they call each other, goths,
Okay.
and
It's
all
still-
the skaters.
Remember the South Park
episode?
Yeah.
Where they're like, yo, we were here first? Like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
happens in real
so
life.
that's why they hate them.
So what is it? So like, what is it to be hipster? Because like all I know is like from city or like urban.
Tight pants.
I
hats,
feel like it's such a vague, self-denying concept that you really can't define it.
Okay.
I mean,
It's
like,
pretending to be poor when you're really not that poor.
and,
Yeah,
and that's one thing you say about like
Yeah.
trust fund babies are often hipsters,
Right,
but
right,
it's
right,
like
right.
kind of the way I look at it is it's like whatever our generation is trying to define itself in terms of culture. We're not the first ones to do it or even use the term because, like,
Right.
you know, you read On the Road with Kerouac, they use the word hipster half the time. But, like,
okay.
I don't know. I think hipster, like, okay, hipster, I see gets done differently from community to community. Like, when I was in San Francisco, the hipster kids, you know, like guys our age and stuff, they were, like, more professional artists, or at least the crowd I was hanging
Okay.
with. You know, and they're really into, like, earthiness and organic stuff and, like, you know, kind of like, you know, yoga and spirituality. I mean, that might just been the crowd I was rolling with. But now out here, most of the hipster crowd I roll with are more business oriented.
Right.
You know, and, like, more nightlife, kind of like, you know, like, but now that's the big thing is because so many people deny the label, it's kind of hard to quantify what it is. Or at
love
least that's
that
my
word.
opinion.
Yes.
You know, quantify.
I love quantified or
Yeah.
quantitative data. Or,
Oh, dude, I quantify all day, every day.
But am I using it wrong? Should I be saying
I think
qualify?
qualifying is like you're drinking this beer because we're on this podcast, and this podcast is all about drinking or having a beer or at least having an alcoholic beverage while drinking. So I'm qualifying you to drink because of the situation there. Quantifying is taking a bunch of data and I think reaching a truth. I don't know,
Yeah,
Minister of
quantify
Information.
is more like numerical.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
that-
man
I think you just
numerics
lo-
up in the ass.
I think you just lost your title because you're just literally going off what she just said.
Well, for those who don't know, Elizabeth's one of her main jobs behind the scenes at Counting Sheep is when I fuck up, she has to pick up the pieces, and she is doing her job wonderfully.
That is true. That is true.
Thank
Well,
you, Elizabeth. Keep up the good work.
I mean, if I'm qualified to
welcome.
drink, I'll take some of that whiskey. Right
Yeah, of
now.
course.
So-
Yeah.
Oh no.
De nada.
Does that mean you're welcome?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not start the Spanish segment again.
Why?
Because
Oh.
from last episode, obviously, remember you were, or from the first episode, I'm getting the episodes already mixed
Oh
up.
yes, if the first
You
episode.
were a Spanish bus driver.
All right,
Oh,
who's, doing,
soy, Lubin.
who's doing a shot with me?
I'll do a shot with you.
All right, you need more or you good?
I'm good. I got half. I already
Alright.
took one to the face. Because I takes mine to the head.
Here we go now.
Alright, salud.
So you said the word segment, and I had an idea from watching the other podcast, or listening to the other podcast.
Theater of the mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's that picture of you, which is awesome. I love
Yes.
it. That.
If you haven't already read, because by the time we record this, the second episode will already be out. Look for the Easter egg in episode 2 if you're watching it quotations as I do. Theater of the mind on YouTube. You will see some Easter eggs during our first ever segment of Drunken Cosmonauts. But continue.
Well, you know, you have to watch it.
Of course.
Because I was trying to listen to it on my phone. And you know how, like, on the iPhone, you get that button on top to close the screen down, you listen to music, you just listen to it?
Yeah.
Try to do that with YouTube, it shuts off
You
your
can't.
video.
No, it sucks. You have to burn you have to burn batteries at both ends. You have to fucking
Yeah.
keep it on. And I was thinking about going SoundHound, but SoundHound only gives you about 4 hours for like 30 months. For $30 a year. And I don't want to open up other RSS feed like in one mic because it costs like $100-something a year.
Oh,
but
yeah, no, not yet anyway.
I'll figure out a way.
Well, it's cool because the ghetto solution is, you know, since I'm on YouTube, I just stare at the same picture the whole time I'm listening to it.
While
You know,
driving.
I'll drive your car.
Like, oh my god, the sheep's coming right at me.
So you guys were talking about, and I never knew this before. You're not supposed to mix red and white wine.
Yeah, I
Bauer.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about it again. I just know in general you're not supposed to mix your sources, and I did it regardless.
Well, I knew about not mixing, you know, beer, liquor, wine
Right.
like that, but I didn't know red and white.
This is how I found out. I was in Spain first time because I've been to Spain twice. There's a small, like I guess, small like beach coastal town all the way up north. It's called I can't remember the name now.
Ay, caramba.
No, it's not called that. It's called Sada.
Okay.
And basically, in the summertime, it becomes Queens, New York. Every New Yorker goes, like everybody. You speak English, and everybody knows what you're talking about
Nice.
because it's all New Yorkers. So my family, my grandmother's uncle, rich uncle, has an estate there, and he's just balling outrageous. The one I told you that went to the wine vineyard in Portugal.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just balling outrageous.
So I'll take a
Nice.
bottle
So,
of your finest Chianti.
He was we go there where we have this huge big banquet because some of these people my father hasn't seen in years. He's got tons of cousins over there. So we're having a big ginormous feast at a restaurant that's on, like, it's almost like what you were mentioning before about New Orleans where they have like those old boats.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that,
Nice.
but it was like I'm telling you, like a grand hall of just like, 20 people deep. And at the end, don't know this guy, but apparently he's related to some of us. He looks like the Gordon's Fisherman. I'm talking about like white beard like this down to here. For those of you Theater of the Mind, huge beard. Think of a Monomarth if anybody listens to metal.
Oh no, Randy
And
Savage on vocals.
we're drinking now in Spain. All I drank was wine, and mostly
Yeah.
I never drank wine up until I went there because that's customary to just drink wine at dinner. So I was like, yeah, whatever,
Motherfucker.
But I
That's
had
like Jamaica and rum. They
yeah.
drink it everywhere they
Somehow
go.
I got a hold of red and white wine. So my brother and I, he's underage, I was still underage. So we're just drinking, whatnot. And this guy is literally just staring me down. And I'm talking about he's at the head of the table, like 20 people back, and he's just staring me down.
Yeah, no, this is Gordon's Fisherman.
Yeah,
right?
I'm like,
and you're how old?
I must have been
Like 18, 17?
I know where this is headed.
Do you think?
17, maybe
Does
18.
anyone
It was
wanna say
03.
it?
Do you think
No, it wasn't 03. It was 2001. So I was younger than
You
that.
were like 16.
so? Like
15.
Cute.
But there's
little-
Oh, shit,
but there's no drinking age. No, I'm sorry. It was
So
the
wait, hold on. So,
Doesn't
so
matter
let
if
me,
there's no
let me just
drinking age, it makes
recap.
it easier.
So you're 15, you got no facial hair, you got like a bright, boyish disposition.
Oh, no.
And here you are getting peeped out by some guy who's related to you with an old white beard being all
Yeah.
like staring you down.
Yeah.
What does that sound like?
Oh, yeah,
So,
that sounds like
There's no
fucking-
drinking age, but anyway.
Fucking.
Oh, no, drinking. Well, that just makes it easier.
No,
Yeah.
no drinking
Rape
age. So.
dungeon. So,
I told you we should change the name of the show, but nobody listens
so
to me.
what happened was, so this guy's staring at me the whole night. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So I go to my brother. I was like, yo,
let's
big
kill
dog,
this
what the
motherfucker.
fuck is this guy doing? He's like, nah, man, you know what I mean? I don't fucking know what's going on. Because my brother was probably mad thug back in the day. Because he's got that spiky hair. He actually had to go to Spain with red hair dye in his head because he spiked up his hair back in the day. Sorry. So back in the day, he was like,
Sorry,
man,
big
thug's
dog.
like, yeah, you know what I mean? You gotta get these bowling shoes. That's a different story. We'll save for another one.
All right, so just finish talking
So
about the time you were
so
molested.
the
You can
so,
tell us, man.
So
It's cool.
my aunt comes over to me and she goes, how you guys doing? And we're like, yeah, good. Listen, I don't want to like make any waves. She's like, but you're not supposed to be drinking red and white wine. So I was like, why? She's like, cause it's the two grapes they don't like they mix and it's just bad. I was like, okay. He's like, cause you see that guy down there? And I look and it's the same fucking guy that she's pointing to.
The dude who's like,
Yeah,
I
she's like,
fucking
he's
you.
like, he's been staring. He goes, yeah. He's like, he's been staring at me. He goes, for good reason because he sees what you're doing and it's not right. I was like, oh. I was like, okay. He's like, and you should behave because he's paying for everything tonight.
Oh.
And I went, oh boy.
Yo, he's
so
paying for fucking
yeah,
everything.
like this, like this.
God, yeah, I love following Hot Smash.
Anyway,
So-
but
so-
that's but apparently something. The grapes are not meant to be mixed, and it's probably either part of your digestive tract or what it breaks down as, and it's like a fucking epic war and chaos in your stomach.
Yeah, it makes your doogie go whistle.
But I wasn't fine. I mean, I was fine after that. But
So how far did it go?
we stopped. It was fine.
But did you stop because you got uncomfortable?
I got stopped, yes, because I was horribly uncomfortable by some guy I never knew who was paying for our entire meal, which probably was like well over $500.
But I'm sure it was worth it for him to pay for you.
Oh, of course. That's always customary in my country.
He has no idea what I'm
I'm
saying
beginning
right
with the
now.
joke, you moron.
Oh,
Because
God.
I'm going to pay for this little boy.
Can I tell the story about being uncomfortable?
No, no. Finish your story with the wine though.
Oh, well, what I was saying with the wine, I was thinking, I don't know, I didn't know that was a big deal. I don't think I've ever done it before, but I kind of want to see someone do it.
I'll do it.
Really?
You'll do it?
I'll step up.
And now you've heard of blush before, right?
Yeah, I've drank blush. I wouldn't think
It's
it'd be a
supposedly
big deal. So no, hold on, Ruben. You'll drink red and white
Yo,
wine.
I'll even throw some blush up in that bitch.
No, but we're talking about what I think he's talking about is two separate bottles.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like I don't
have
have
to
any
drink
wine.
You get like
bottles?
a Pinot Noir and like a white wine, like
Yeah, is it
box wine.
Oh,
No,
Dude,
okay.
no, hold on. I don't have any wine this week, but
you.
next time we do this, next week when we record, I will bring a bottle of red wine and a bottle of white wine just to see you double fist. You don't have to finish them.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm
know,
gonna-
I'll
but I want to see you
supply
double
you.
fist from the two bottles.
I'll supply
Yeah,
with the
okay.
white wine. I like that idea.
Dude, okay,
I'll
yeah,
make
I
it
want to.
so stupid.
I
Oh
want
my
to see
God.
where this goes.
I like that idea. I think that we should start a regular segment like that. Now that he's calling him out, like not to have you as like our guinea pig or whatnot, but
Oh,
I think that's a good idea for a segment.
Well, the fact that I'm like calling him out on
Yeah,
something.
I think that's really good.
I am totally down.
Call
to,
it Will It Mix.
what?
Like Will It Blend?
Ooh.
You know the
Oh, that's
blending
good.
skit?
That
That's
is
good.
good.
Will it mix? Okay.
Will it mix? But see, but that's the thing that like if we're only doing like concoctions, like that would only work with concoctions.
Well, you know what?
and
I'll
whatnot.
say this. I'll
I
say this
used
to
to
be
love
fair.
concoctions.
To be
Right.
fair, because I'm putting Ruben on the spot, and he had no idea I was gonna say this.
Right.
After you do it, you can put me on the spot with something.
Ooh, it's like yo backsies. It's
It's kind
like
of
yo,
like
it's like fuck you almost.
It's like no, it's
It's
like
a card
Kevin,
game.
Kevin versus Benny.
Kenny versus Ben.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that show.
That's
dude.
fun.
There you go.
My brother loves
Brian
that show.
versus
It's
Brian.
hysterical.
Real quick, tell everybody about Kenny versus Penny, because I feel like
well,
only
I mean,
3 people saw that.
I
show.
love that
Yeah,
show.
Episode or
Andy
two,
told
but
that, it's
what do
hilarious.
they go off on dares towards each other? And
They have challenges basically.
Yeah.
Like one of the episodes is who can eat the most meat.
Yeah.
And it's literally just them having an eating contest where all they're allowed to do is just eat meat.
like
And that's what me and my brother always talk about. Like
Gravy?
he goes into his Chinese Jewish doctor, and he's like, yo, I need to find some wisdom, some Far East wisdom that is gonna help me eat meat. And he goes, yo, what's this? He goes, oh, that's seal penis. And he goes, seal penis, and he calls him Goldfield, and he's Chinese.
Go feel.
He goes, he goes, Goldfield, why do people want to eat seal penis? He's like, seal penis, it gives power. He goes, how much is that? He goes, it's about $2,000.
Wow.
He goes,
God.
how much do you think I can get from my penis, Goldfield? He's like, I don't know. Yo, Kenny versus Benny is amazing, but I like that idea though. I'll bring it next. I'll bring up the
Okay.
thing. And I think we should make that.
All
a
right, so
regular
let's
topic.
make it fair. You buy the white, I'll buy the red.
Box
Right.
wine, preferably, boys.
But just so we're clear about this, we don't do stupid shit that could possibly kill us. Because I can see this escalating out of control.
Yeah.
I was gonna
It's
say,
like, yo, Ruben, jump off this roof while smoking a blunt.
Will it mix?
no,
I mean,
honestly,
mix.
when it comes to escalating bad concoctions, I've somewhat of an expert in the subject, so I know when to quit.
Yo, shit on a boat. That's a story for next time. Go.
So no, I mean it's like you called it a challenge. I think that's what it is. I mean it's almost like fucking truth or dare, but no one here is getting laid.
give it a few weeks from now.
I'm not.
So you think you're saying that we need to acquire more women on the show?
Oh, dude, I know where to get.
I don't know if my girlfriend's gonna listen to this or not, so I'll say no.
Whoa! Hey now.
You would never do that anyway.
Hey
No,
now.
never. I don't even. I barely drink.
You're
I
an
am an
outstanding
upstanding
citizen.
He said it best.
Long
Come on.
hair, upstanding citizen. I like
Yeah, I
that.
just do it to keep people on their toes.
I
Talking
know,
about
just-
going with the flow. It's been my life's mission to get this guy to smoke weed. Bauer.
I made him vaporize once.
Hey,
You
Zach
vaporize?
Jumper.
I made him vaporize twice.
How is vaporizing? Because I heard it's like a
smoking
different high,
weed
or it's
flavored
like
air.
Well,
That's
not
weird. I would
not
not
that
like
I've
that at all.
ever done any illegal drugs before.
air quotations.
But in theory, from what I understand from message boards on the internet, it's not smoke. It's weird.
It's vapor.
It's vapor, so
It's
the
weed
high is
steam.
different too.
Because
It's a little
I've been
different.
listening to a lot of Joe Rogan, or in Kevin Smith's podcast, he mentions it every now and then, where he's just like, it's a different sensation. Like, I mean, from what my understanding is, like, if you smoke like a blunt, which is like the
in a
cancer
cigar.
leaves taken out, and they just leave the husk or the outside wrappings of it, and you use that to pack it with weed, or like smoking a
it's just so
bowl,
weird.
or
That's the most
or,
technical
uh,
explanation I've ever heard of a blunt.
you never
No,
heard it.
that definitely is the
No,
most.
I know what a blunt is, but I've
Oh, but you never heard that
explained.
explanation before?
No.
You
No.
take out the cancer.
But the
Yeah, the
husk.
cancer paper.
I mean,
Well, it's like
again, I've never done
take,
illegal
you,
drugs.
You take out the cancer leaves, the leaves of the cigar that would cause the cancer, and you just leave the out. I call it husk, but that's me because I don't fucking smoke.
Get them.
And
That is a husk. I
and then
the
like
husk.
like there's just rolling papers and whatnot. But I heard like vaporizing gives you like a different sort of high. And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Also, Rogan was also explaining how ingesting pot is way different than
Oh, yeah.
anything. Like
Yeah,
it like gives you like a delayed
It's
reaction.
a body situation because your body has to digest all that shit. It's not like direct inhale.
They
Actually, hold on. Speaking of that,
Mm.
because Rogan suggests, and that's a perfect suggestion for him. He says that if you don't like to smoke or you don't like the feeling of smoke, eating.
Pop burns?
No, anything. They make pot lollipops now.
pot butter.
Court motherfucking.
Yeah, dude, they make it
corn
everything.
muffins.
So they said that if you don't
I mean,
like, because
hot corn muffins.
he's way philosophical and like everybody should smoke because even if you have a bad trip, what it is that it's not you having a bad trip, is you realizing all the inner angst and inner evils that you
Oh
have.
yeah.
That it's not
Absolutely.
only that, but if you face that, he goes. There's also something that he's been talking about recently that all of religion is based off of psychedelic mushrooms.
All
That-
religion?
like the foundings of like Buddhism and all that other stuff. They were talking about the Salem witch trials today, where they don't think it was just like
I heard
them
about
going
this.
crazy because of their religion.
It was mold in
They
the bread.
yeah,
right?
they think there was mold in the bread from a frozen harvest. And what happens is when bread gets cold and it starts to defrost, there's some type of bacteria that can live in there that gets inside the bread that actually acts like a psychedelic. So they're thinking, because the archaeologists unearthed like like took
She's a witch.
took like samples from the earth back in those days, and they actually found traces of this this mushroom. They're thinking that the entire town was poisoned with this, and we're like men were just walking around fucked up all the time, and just we're going like, yo, this is that girl that's doing this to me. Fucking burn her at the stake. Like, it's fucking nuts.
Well, that's how they solved problems back then.
Yeah.
It's interesting, you know, you're talking about, like, you know, the way Rogan... Oh, is this weed? No, okay. It's interesting how...
I thought you didn't smoke.
No, I thought I found something.
Yeah, he was gonna turn it in.
So you're talking about, you know, how, like...
Hey, wait, is that crack? Nope, sorry.
Just let me have that. Joe Rogan's talking about, you know, mushrooms and religion, which I'll listen to because I'm big on religion and spirituality in general. Good, many indigenous religions, Native American, what is now Mexican, you know, what was Native American back then too, have drug practices, so to speak, where it's like salvia, you know, that's
and stuff.
Peyote is a religion.
Opium from Asia, that was a big thing with that.
From like South America and whatnot.
And you know, there's this belief that these illicit substances, as they're now thought of, are just putting you in touch with both senses and experiences, you know, past that of kind of the collapsed reality that we all look at on a day-to-day. And like there's even this practice with I don't know if it's peyote or if it's a variation thereof, that's really popular in Machu Picchu and deep in the Amazon, that is now in an underground scene in New York.
Really?
Yeah, it's being frequented by it's very close with yoga practices. I'll stop talking about it for now because I gotta find the article. And,
but it's interesting you're talking about that because like they were saying how like Buddhism is spiritually derived from eating psychedelic mushrooms. Like because you're experiencing something that opens up a void that you wouldn't normally experience without the psychedelic. It's almost like you believing in a higher power, and that's how they think that there's this a substance that we can't they were talking about how there's a substance that we can't find, we don't know what it is anymore, like a compound that they used to make that's actually in books of Buddhism, that they're like, it's all closely tied to the practices of like chanting and Buddhism, that they found like one substance that's close to that, but it's not, I forget what type of what the name of it is, but they're saying that's how they were saying like most of their spirituality comes from taking these early mushrooms or a type of psychedelic that expands your mind. I just thought, just to close the topic out, I just thought it was really interesting that, because my experiences with it is that I don't like it because it sends me to, or makes my body feel weird, and it's weird listening to the exact same things that happen to me and his answers for that being, dude, it's just negative. Like, if you're gonna think negative, that's how it's going to be, and you're never going to leave that. But if you take that, and if you're going to believe that it's going to be negative, and it happens to be negative, he goes, what you have to do is you have to stand up and face it and go head first into it, and then you realize all the imperfections about yourself and how you need to change that. And I thought that was just an incredible spin on the entire subject of just being a bad trip, instead of just going, oh, it's a bad trip, ooh, don't do the brown acid.
Yeah,
you know?
No, do the brown acid and learn to love it.
Says
That's
the
what I
Minister of
Ministry of Information.
Because like you're right. Because like when you take a negative stance against a substance, you're at war with a drug that is affecting your body in an abnormal way. I had this friend in college who, before the first time they did acid, wrote in the palm of their right hand, "It's just a drug," as a reminder, and the palm of their left hand drew a smiley face.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
So like anytime that like they were feeling overwhelmed, just be like, oh yeah, smile, it's just a drug.
Nice,
okay.
I like that.
You know, and like, I feel like Rogan's obviously right on the money. I haven't listened to his podcast before. I mostly just listen to Smodcast, but he's right on the money when you say that drugs just express an energetic feeling, whether usually something you've ignored over a long period of time. It's now coming to the surface that you can't fight. You know, especially salvia. Something you were saying.
Recommend.
Something you were saying about Buddhism, because I spent the first half of 2011 in a Buddhist live-work community for 6 months, and they were very rigid-minded. You know, you would think.
Well, they're very, from what little I know about their culture, they're very. They have a ritual, or they have they stick to I can't find the fucking word. Like they have a ritual. Like they, like it's
It's-
you had a ritual. Like I get up every day and I
Well,
make
it's,
eggs.
it's
and
called
I,
it's called practice.
Right, that's what I meant. They
It's
stick
routine,
to a schedule.
It's a set path. That's why we worked 6 days a week. 9-hour days, which for us is a short day being filmmakers, but whatever.
Absolutely.
But the reason I bring it up is they never talked about substances or alcohol or anything that wasn't part of their practice, but it was common practice to both fast at least once a month.
Oh God.
And Buddha himself, I didn't know anybody who personally did this, was an ascetic.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means in the Buddhist context is basically a masochist, where they felt they reached levels of spiritual enlightenment by causing themselves pain all day.
Okay.
And like there's a whole chapter in Buddha's life where he just chills out with aesthetics, who's these sick motherfuckers who are like, yeah, man, I'm just fucking driving nails into my nipples, and I'm fucking laying out in the sun and getting intentional sunburns, fucking burning myself up, and I only ate 1 grain of rice today, motherfucker. What's good?
I sunburned myself once because I was really pale and I wanted to catch up with everybody. Does that make me an aesthetic?
So was it like a process of one-upping them?
Well,
Like
okay, so
one-upping the next person in line?
So now the Buddha, he was the most extreme aesthetic. He started hanging out with these dudes like, oh, fuck you, you eat 3 grains of rice, I'll eat 1, and I'll only eat it for 5 days, like be mad intense about it. Because I mean, the story of the Buddha itself is he receives this gift of enlightenment, or no, he realizes. Okay, so in short, pre-Buddha, his name, I forget what his name was, but he was a prince of royalty and lived in a royal family and knew not of suffering. And these 3 different people took trips into his kingdom, and one was really sick, and one was dying, and one was lame, or something like that. He's like, oh shit, there's pain in the world. Well, fuck, I'll just leave my wife and unborn child or newly born child, and I'm going to go venture out in the world for answers. And he ends up chilling with these aesthetics who are just mutilating themselves all day. And he's like, because there's this idea that through great pain and deprivation, you get closer to a sense of the true nature of existence.
Okay.
God, as
Building
the Christians
character.
would call it. Building characters.
It's just such a bizarre, like...
It's weird.
It's
like
bizarre that they would think that. Though.
And eventually Buddha leaves it and goes on his own trip and converts all the ascetics who basically become his disciples.
Right.
And, I'm doing a very condensed version of it. But I just thought it was interesting that you're talking about drugs in Buddhism, which I knew nothing about from hanging out with all these Tibetans. But I did know about masochism being a practice. Although they didn't call it that, they called it aesthetic.
Right, yeah, I've never heard of that. I mean, the only masochistic thing I've ever heard of was the sect of Christianity from Spain. They talk about it in Angels and Demons and the other fucking book. What is the fucking... I can't think of the name.
Da Vinci Code.
When they flog themselves.
Da Vinci
The fuck is the name of that sect? It started by a Spanish priest. And they flogged themselves and they... Huh?
The Illuminati.
No, the Illuminati is the conspiracy thing, but there's a sect. People right now listening to this are probably screaming the fucking name out.
Yeah, and wait, what's the contact? Let's do a plug. What's the contact? And if you know the name of this, then you should.
I haven't. We said that the last time. I don't know what the contact.
saltyrevenge@yahoo.com.
Salty Revenge. That's fucking Ruben's 7th grade email address.
Do you
that he
have
still
that?
has.
Give it to me.
saltyrevenge@yahoo.com.
You have that already?
That's been my email address for
Oh,
I started my MySpace account with that. You know how much spam and porn I have?
Opus Dei.
Opus Dei.
Opus Dei is you have ever seen?
I've heard of Opus Dei before.
Have you ever seen what is the Da Vinci Code? When he's
Yeah.
wrapping the shit around, they flog themselves
Yep.
because
Okay.
The guy
you know,
from
Bulwark Empire.
Bulwark. Yep, that's
It's
it.
sort of like Opus Dei,
Yeah.
but
I'm gonna go have myself a flog.
I think he means masturbate.
Yeah.
And on that note,
That's complete misinterpretation coming from the
and on that note,
misinformation.
as we all go get a flog,
Yeah.
I think that
I've heard
concludes
myself.
this episode.
Oh, dude, we can't conclude on a fucking.
On a
On a
flog.
Reuben quote? I
I
like
mean,
being
like-
on a Reuben
Listen,
quote.
I stop things dead in their tracks with my information.
No, but I mean, if we're talking about masturbation, Oh.
What are you, fucking 12? Go to your room.
And masturbate.
Masturbate. Yeah, so we'll take a break between this and just go all jerk off and
Exactly.
and
So
Steven's not home.
for this episode of Counting Sheep,
Elizabeth.
Matt,
Brian
Ruben.
Rubin, and Brian Baker.
and
He's
I'm
a little
Sheep,
preoccupied.
and I'm Sheep, and you're counting on me. See you later.